No citizens' comments. Okay.
Well, we'll bypass that. So new business, we get to elect a chair and a vice chair for the Historic Preservation Commission for calendar year 2024.
So included in your packet is a copy of the commission bylaws, which states that a chairperson and a vice chairperson will be elected from among the commission members at the first regular scheduled meeting in January. And officers serve a term of 1 year, so Greg has graciously been our chairperson for all of 23, and so now it is time to elect someone for 24. Now, there are a couple of ways to do this. A lot of times the vice chair gets nominated to be the chair. So if somebody chooses to nominate Ed, we can go that direction. If there is someone else that somebody wants to nominate, we can go that direction, and then we vote. And then ditto for a vice chair.
Greg is not eligible.
Greg would be eligible. There's nothing in the bylaws that states that they can't continue to be
Looking at it.
chair. Just says they serve a term of 1 year. There's no maximum on terms. I've had people continue to be the chairperson for multiple years. It kind of, really, it's at the discretion of the commission. Y'all get to decide.
So what do we do?
Someone needs to nominate someone. So someone gets to nominate someone.
So just to keep it interesting, I would nominate Leah as as the chairperson.
Leah, do you accept the nomination?
Sure.
Okay.
Cool. Do we have to nominate a vice?
We do that next. Any other nominations? Okay. Can we get a vote on Leah for chairperson for 2024?
Aye.
Aye.
Damn. Now you're
Miss
telling
Leah, you are the winner. Okay, nominations for a vice chair.
I thought Eddie was still a good vice chair. You want to be vice chair still?
I can, absolutely.
I nominated Ed.
Any other nominations? All right. Vote.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Nope. All right, Ed, it's you.
Okay.
Super duper. So Leah, we will turn the floor over to you, my dear.
And thank you for all your good work in 2023.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
yes,
you.
yes.
And thank you both for serving as officers last year.
Sure.
So, yeah, I wasn't expecting that, so get my head in the game here.
Do you want to swap around places? Do you want to be next to her?
Oh, she could throw something at me.
I will correct you if needed.
Okay, so let's move on to the next order of business, which is the approval of minutes for November 2nd, 2023, regular meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Boom.
Alright, so the next item is a certificate of appropriateness for the West End Historic District. An application by Michelle Rodemaker of Clever Fox Architecture on behalf of Daniel Mader at 818 Main Street for a projecting sign with internal illumination and/or a wall-mounted sign with internal illumination to replace an existing sign.
Okay, so in your packet, there are two applications. They kind of did an either or. My understanding from our applicant is that they would prefer the projecting sign. So in the packet, you'll see that there is the application with the description. There is a photo of the existing projecting sign that exists on the Osmer's building where Bumper Crop Coffee is. You can see one where it kind of shows it. This is the existing one to be removed. And then they kind of give an example of what they're looking to accomplish, which is to have it be on the corner of the building so it could be seen from both streets. So this is not what the mock movable sign is, it's just an example of placement. And then as normal, kind of just some information regarding the sign itself, so here's some mounting stuff, that's more for
Dimensions.
building, and then you have the actual sign listed, which has its dimensions. So it's a 4x7, which is 28 square feet, so that is under the 32 that is allowed in the zone. We're good there. And then some architectural drawings also, kind of showing how the line of sight triangle works with the sign, showing how it would project off the side with some elevation drawings. You can see the heights, dimensions of the sign.
So will it come kitty corner?
Well, on application one, it would be on the corner, so it's diagonal.
Okay. Nice.
So that is option one that they would like to have reviewed. And then option two, also included in your packet, would be to do what's called a wall-mounted sign. So similar sign, same size, it would be flat on the building rather than projecting out from the corner of the building. So again, kind of just shows the different pieces, shows where it would live on the building. So you have your architectural drawing right above the door. And the same sign information with size, etc.
I guess my question, Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
My question would be, Michelle, what are we trying to achieve here? I mean, who's going to see it more than they do now?
Well, they'll be able to see it off of New Sixth Street if it's on the corner. Right now, you can't see it on New
And
Sixth
currently, we
Street.
still are driving around that, we're not closed off.
Mhm.
I
So,
think at the 45, it's gonna stand out more than the one that's just flat off the front of the building. So as you get lost in your line of sight, you know, you'll notice something when it's jogged a little bit. I think it'll look cool myself.
are we approving of both? Are we looking at both for approval or one?
We'd like to get approval for both, and then he's gonna choose one or the other option.
Yeah,
He's
because
trying to decide which way he wants to go.
Oh,
So if you go flat sign, there'll just be one sign on Main Street.
Right.
yes, so from sign code, which is chapter 37, well, I guess technically they could have both based on the sign code, because we would consider, because they have two street frontages, because the way code reads, it says combined total area of all signs on a lot per lot street frontage shall not exceed 25 square feet for up to 30 feet of linear feet of lot street frontage, or 32 square feet for more than 30 linear feet of lot street frontage. So number two would be the one that would apply to them, and they have two street frontages. So since each of those signs is under 32 feet, they'd have one for each of their lot street frontages.
Well, the angular sign is not any different really than what we have.
No, it's really just moving it, and then it will be internally illuminated, so you can see
It
it.
doesn't block any view of signage or anything like that
Mm-mm.
over there, so there's no obstruction for driving.
I was thinking aesthetics. I think it'd be kind of cool sticking out there. Honestly, it definitely would get everybody's attention at being at that angle. Because it will be different than all the other signage. And it's a unique situation because they are a corner.
Didn't they get approved for the parking for area off the street or not?
They did, but that
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah, I just was curious.
play into the sign.
They're trying to do something with this business, yeah,
Yeah, that would be,
I know they were approved, I just was curious, to say, yeah.
So is it odd for us to approve two alternatives? 'Cause that's what we're doing, right?
no, because technically they could have both signs. If it was a case where they only had one street lot frontage, then I would probably feel like it's a little more dicey. because they would be going over the signage, and so
In
this
case-
body cannot approve something that's not allowed by code. We've had that discussion before. But it is allowed by code because they do have 2 street lot frontages and they do meet the total square footage that would be allowed for each side of their street lot frontage. So
So they were.
unless you can find something that's wrong, like that it doesn't meet the criteria, I would say that you could. My understanding is they're gonna do one or the other. Technically, they could do both. I feel like they're trying to, I know that previously they had come in front of this board for the wall sign, did not move forward with the wall sign, came back to the board for the
With this
projecting
other,
sign,
yeah.
did do the projecting sign. I feel like we're just saving everybody a little bit of time.
Yeah, so. Actually, I think behooves us, because then it wouldn't have to come back if they changed their mind again on what kind of sign they wanted to put up.
Correct, unless they change like
So in
the
this
size or what
situation,
the look of it was.
even if they did put up both signs, we would still be within the code.
Correct, yes.
So pretty safe.
Do we need to run this as 2 separate certificates then?
I am going to run it as 2 separate certificates, yes. I just gave you one sheet, just because the sheets are really big. And I feel like you can do the back and forth, and I will just notate that, and then I will notate that in each of the letters that I issue.
So
So in
we'll go
other
through
words,
it once, but go through it for each option?
Yes.
Okay, perfect, all right.
Yes, rather than you have to read it twice,
Perfect.
right?
Perfect,
I try
okay.
to simplify things for you.
Are we ready to go through it?
Okay, do we have any other questions for our applicants? I mean, you can ask questions as we go through, but,
I think we're solid.
Madam Chair, go ahead and let's go through our review sheet, please.
Okay, so this is the Lewiston Design Guidelines for the West End Historic District, the Certificate of Appropriateness Review Form. So should I read the first paragraph then?
We don't really have to read that, that's just kind of explains it.
Okay.
We have been doing where we just read each of
Yeah.
the section heads,
So
and
the
the
first
commission determines
section,
if they're applicable or not.
the first section is brick, stone, and concrete. Buildings with brick exterior walls may be structural, load-bearing brick, or simply a brick veneer covering another structural material.
Not applicable.
B, metals. Metals were often used in historical buildings, particularly for ornamental elements such as columns and cornices, and utilitarian features such as door and window hardware.
Not applicable.
Wood. Historical wooden elements include doors, window sash, and sometimes ornament or
Not
siding.
applicable.
Let's see. D, design guidelines for historic building elements.
Not
No,
applicable.
I would say not. E, windows. This section addresses windows other than display windows generally situated on upper levels of commercial buildings. Most historical windows of the 1880s to 1960s period were wood sash, although some later windows during this period are metal sash. Doors. This section addresses exterior doors generally situated on the ground level of a commercial building. Same here.
Not applicable.
You have not applicable roofs.
Roofs, this section addresses commercial building or roofs in the 1880s to 1906 period, most of which are flat with a flat or shaped parapets.
Here we go.
Awnings and canopies. Cloth and sometimes metal awnings and canopies were common during the 1880s through 1960s period. Many awnings could be rolled, raised, or lowered, and they often sheltered the entire walkway in front of a building, while canopies were generally of rigid construction.
Not applicable.
Chimneys in 1880s to 1960s historical buildings are generally brick features incorporated into the building or walls and protruding from the roof or parapet. Balconies, although balconies are rather uncommon features, they may or may have been present on historical buildings. Design guidelines for additions to historic buildings. Converting a historic building to a new use may necessitate construction of additions. So, say you. Okay. Now, design guidelines for parking facilities, lighting, signs, and streetscapes. Since the goal of rehabilitation is to provide new uses for historic buildings and the setting must be conducive to the selected use, parking facilities, lighting, signage, and generally pleasant streetscapes are of the utmost importance in encouraging people to visit shops and other commercial venues in the historic district.
Only 5 applies, right?
So, like 5 and,
And is that
yeah.
designed for parking?
Well,
It's just a
3
parking
mentions
sign.
signs. So I guess I'll just look at them real quick. 1, off-street parking located behind the party wall or buildings. So no. Locating off-street parking lots and areas, no. So 3, use of simple low-intensity lighting fixtures casting a warm light similar to daylight focused on building entrances, signs.
And this will be an internally illuminated sign, so it will not be an external. It'll be
Okay.
the glow from within.
These are parking lights and
Assisted
uses.
street lighting fixtures, no. So 5, use of signs that are compatible with and do not overwhelm the architecture of the building and district. Avoid plastic signs if possible. Consistent size and placement of signage contributes to unification of the downtown area.
Yeah.
Applicable.
So we feel like it's applicable to both.
Both.
Fantastic.
And 6, historic building names or historic signs should be retained if possible as part of the historic building, so there's no changes that are.
They're not messing with the name.
So,
Then none of the rest of it applies.
That's it, Madam Chair. There's nothing else there.
okay. Well, is there any other discussion before?
Oh, we have one more section you have to. Oh, yes, and that one. M, gotta go over M.
Oh, yes.
New construction.
Design guidelines for new construction within a historic district. New construction within a historic district may be desirable to fill gaps left when buildings were destroyed or removed for other reasons. So no.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the certificate of appropriateness for 818 Main Street as proposed with 2 alternatives, choice of the applicant.
Okay,
I second that.
okay, great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Motion passes.
Nice.
Super duper. Okay.
I vote for the corner sign.
Yes.
Really
Okay, it looks like we're ready to move on to old business, the 2024 Orchid Awards.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, so in your packet, I included, the, award, like the little sheet that we usually send out that has like the description of everything plus the nomination form on the backside. And then the, information sheet that we kind of use internally, kind of describing the criteria, that we review the nominations on, what each of the award categories are. And then just as a reminder, since we do this biannually, and 2 years ago was a long time for my poor little brain, the press release that we had done previously, saying like who the previous, winners were, just so you guys can have that information in your brain of which of the categories we awarded at the last one, and who those people were and what their addresses were. So I provided that information just as kind of something to get your brains churning on it. We do need to make a couple of determinations. We need to pick a date. So Idaho State, well, I think it's actually National Historic Preservation Month is May, so we've done it in May, the last couple of times. So we need to pick a Saturday in May to do it.
Now, didn't last year Mayor Johnson declare it?
Yes.
Now, was that just for the year, or is that like from then on?
I think it's from then on.
Okay, good.
I think that's the way those things work.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, because I don't think it was like May of 2023. I think it was just like the month of May is this. Okay, calendar. So Saturdays in May are the 4th, the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th. And the 25th is Memorial Day weekend, so I would probably avoid that weekend because of NAIA and other things that go on in town. I don't know that you would get a lot of attendees if you were trying to compete with that. But the 4th, the 11th, or the 18th are options.
No graduations.
College graduation might be that weekend of the 11th, 12th. I don't know.
And it's a midday
I think
event usually, isn't it?
what time did we do the last one? I don't remember. We did it at 11 o'clock last
Oh, yeah.
time. We did it on Saturday, the 14th of May, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And we did it at 11, and remember I had like sandwiches and coffee and lemonade. So if we like that
Just for
11
discussion's sake, let's try the 11th and see what that does for people. What does that do for people here?
Is that the
Fine.
13th?
Yeah.
or-
I don't have anything.
May 11th would be the,
Do we want to check on LC graduation? We can.
I Google it right now.
But I don't know that that's going to pull from our audience.
Mother's Day is in May now.
Mother's Day is the next day.
That would hurt anything?
And I think it was maybe, no, it wasn't. We did it the weekend after Mother's Day.
Have anything going on that day? No music, no work.
I would have difficulty getting back for the 18th.
See what I can find. Friday, May 10th is gonna be LC's commencement ceremony. So it'll be the day
The
before.
town's gonna be packed on the 11th.
I move that we focus on the date of May 11th for the Orchid Awards.
Okay, everybody good with the 11th?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Do we still like that 11 a.m. Time?
Yeah, that way if I have music come up for that day, I can still.
It's graduation.
The 10th, the night before. Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I think last year it was less than 2 hours total time. And I will double check with Lynn at the library. I don't know that they'll have their schedule of stuff yet, but I remember the previous year, there was a historic talk. I don't remember if it was Gary, if it was Branting.
Not aware of one, but
Someone did a talk afterwards, and we kind of funneled people that way.
Yeah,
I don't
last
know.
year, that's what we did. I remember that. I think it was
Yeah,
Steve.
'cause I think that was like at 1, and so we were done and out before,
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Yeah.
So, it's
So we
usually
still
not.
gonna have it in that territorial building?
Yes, if that's the desire of the commission, I will confirm with Mary that it's available that date and that we can do so. Okay, so we like 11 a.m. We do want to do the territorial, so I'll email her after the meeting. Do we want to do snacks like we did last time? So I think last time I did sandwich tray.
It was like perfect. There was a little bit left over, but not much.
Yeah, so we didn't do a ton of food, but I felt like it was enough food.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at my photos and we'll find out what I did. I know I took pictures of it, but I don't remember off the top of my
I
head.
think it was 1 or 2 sandwich trays and some lemonade and
I don't remember if I did a,
coffee.
like a veggie tray or not. I'm pretty sure I did coffee, and then I know I did lemonade. Got my lemonade thing up incorrectly. And I realized it like after I had filled it and the ceremony had started.
How many people do you usually get to?
Oh, gosh, maybe 30-ish?
Maybe 30?
30 to
A
40.
decent amount.
Yeah, it was pretty well full, last time. Here we go.
I know Jonna appreciated the food, so. She
Cookies. I did a cookie platter and a sandwich
She
platter.
wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
There wasn't
And I did not do coffee. I did water and lemonade.
Because it was warmer.
No, it was cold. Remember, it rained.
That's right, it was
Poured
raining.
rain that day.
We didn't go inside though.
No, we were inside.
We
Yeah.
were inside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we originally talked about doing it out on the lawn, but then it had been like raining and raining and raining, and we're like, nope, inside we go. And so we did it inside.
I don't, there's gonna be some interesting change on the inside of the Capitol because there are some big display cases going in. So I don't know what that's gonna do for space, but I think we'll be okay anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, we can again try to plan for it to be outside and then move it inside if we have another rain event like we did that last
The
time.
lighting is all new, so that will be improved.
Yeah, but it looked like we fit pretty good. I mean, all of my crowd pictures, we did have a full house, but all my
Yeah.
crowd pictures, we weren't, super tight. Okay, so sandwich and cookie tray, and then just water and lemonade again. That works for everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Under new lighting. We're inside.
Under brightness. Okay.
Exciting when things happen like that, isn't it?
Yes.
So that was all of my little questions. So then, for the commission, you guys need to start thinking of nominations that you would like to make, so.
It won't be the black building on Main Street.
No.
Love that. So I can send out, I know I sent them to Tamara, last month when we didn't meet. I can send out the 5 that you guys had been interested in, from previous, certificate of appropriateness. But then the other thing, and this is where usually we get most of them, is drive around. Look at your community,
A lot of
see.
stuff happening out there.
Yep, see what you see, and then I guess pay attention to what the different categories are and what those criteria that we're reviewing are. The goal is to review at the April meeting so that I can do the press release, the plaque, well, we didn't do plaques, the certificates, all those different pieces. That way I can have everything ready for May. And we could, if we're doing it on the 11th, because we'll have a meeting on the 2nd, we could review at the 2nd also if we don't have everything in by the April meeting. That's not preferable in my world, but it's also an option if.
That puts too much pressure on you.
It's an option if we need that to be an option. Not to do all of them, but if there are some stragglers or you're unable to contact somebody or there's something, we can review it at that May 2nd meeting. And just a reminder that I need all of that paperwork turned in a week before the meeting because that's when I have to get everything, noticed and agendas done and all that kind of stuff.
So you said there was, how many did we have that we had?
I think there were
suggest-
5.
Can you,
I can email them out to the whole group. So you guys
yeah, that way because what, was the house on 5th Street that?
Yes.
burnt?
Yes.
Okay, that one, they really did a nice job on that.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys have discussed that house multiple times, so I would probably say go knock on some doors and.
Say hi.
So I live just right by that house, and I've been watching how they've built it and restructured it and everything like that. I think it is a beautiful house. I don't think it's historically preserved because if you go down to Boise, it looks like all of the houses down in Boise that are the new construction homes.
Okay.
But that's my opinion, and just watching how they've done it, I feel like they've just mimicked the new construction down in Boise by the way that they've done what they've done.
Their color choices are definitely, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But so I would just
windows.
encourage you to look
Yeah.
at the categories, because like excellence in historic preservation, that would be someone who is like adhering to the standards of the Secretary of Interior. Very rarely do we see things that are to that standard. But there are other options that might apply and that you guys might want to consider.
It'd be difficult to make those fit that particular house.
And if it's something that you can't make it meet the criteria, you can't make it meet the criteria, and it is what it is. You know, not everything, you can do a beautiful job of restoring your home and it not be something that is deserving of an Orchid Award, and that's fine.
Yeah.
We can appreciate that you did a beautiful job of restoring a burnt out home.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean we have to give you an award for it.
No.
So that's your guys' homework for the next couple of months.
So to clarify, you would like the nomination forms a week before our April meeting?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I will do, so I prepare agendas. I legally have to have an agenda out 5 days before a meeting. So I usually try to do it a week, so you'll notice you normally get things from me the Thursday before we meet. So for April, the first meeting will be on the 4th. So I would need things by the 28th. So I would say make sure it's to me by end of day on the 27th of February. March, sorry, brain, no worky. I couldn't say my name correctly earlier on a phone call.
Oh dear.
It was good times, yeah. Totally, I don't even know what name I was trying to say, but it was not mine. That's how today has been. So, there you go.
So by what date in March then?
The 27th.
March 27th, by end of day, by 5 o'clock on March 27th. Need to have your things to me. Or you would let me know that you can't get me all the information for the nomination, and then I can work with you on getting it done in April to be reviewed kind of last minute in May. But let's aim to review at that March or at that April meeting.
But maybe in February and March, we can still have it on the agenda to
Oh yeah,
discuss.
I'm gonna remind you every single month, because yes.
Okay, is there
Just
any
want
other
to encourage
discussion?
you. And I think it's also a good idea because, you know, like I said, I would encourage you to drive around. I would encourage you to look at your community and see what is out there. And then you can bring those things to the group to discuss because, you know, different people live in different areas. You have different routes to and from work, different routes to your grocery store. You know, you might not see things that other people see. And so I
And it's
feel
for
like.
the whole city, it's
Yep,
not
it's
just
for, yep,
the
it's for the
historic
whole
areas.
city, yep. Because we had several nominations the last time that were not within either of the districts, but were still worthy of a nomination. So don't think you have to stay within the boundaries of just West End or just the Normal Hill area. Drive around, you know, there's lots of cool houses out there that have been preserved, so.
There's also that guy on Third Street that's been in a couple of times he's on Prospect, isn't he? The one that's done he had the outbuilding garage that he was doing and he did all of his windows and he did his,
Is that the portico one that we just did?
I think it might have been, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he's on Prospect Boulevard. I don't think his project is done, so that's the other thing, project has to be completed.
Okay.
So that's what I have on Orchid Awards. So you've given me some answers, so I'll start doing my end of stuff. You guys start looking around and thinking of who you want to do nominations for. And we'll move forward from there. Okay.
Ready to move on?
So
Is there any commissioner comments?
Just a question, what's the status of the black building?
I don't have any status right now. So I reached out to that property owner, gosh, this was a while ago because we didn't have a meeting in December. So when it was brought to my attention that the building had been painted, I did reach out to the property owner. We can request that he does a certificate of appropriateness after the fact. There is not really a section in your design guidelines that covers paint color. This group has struggled with the, one other application we've had for paint color. SHPO advises us not to try to control or dictate paint color. So really it's up to you guys. If you want me to reach out and have them do an assist.
Isn't there a clause of compatibility with the neighboring buildings?
I don't think
That's-
for
that would
paint
be
color,
the
I think
one.
that's,
That is. That's the one, because it's gotta be,
It's just a miserable eyesore.
well, it's kinda like this, you know,
What are we talking about?
What are we talking about, the
exactly? I
black
don't live
building?
downtown.
It's 515.
it used to be the Ings
What they
restaurant.
did to the Ings that had the
Okay.
mosaic, the green mosaic stuff on it, it's just a mass of black now.
With one little patch, I know, I was
It looks
just
like one of those temporary Halloween buildings.
spirit of Halloween.
Wasn't the brick before like a natural color, or
It
was it?
was natural color.
Or was it
Yeah.
painted?
It was,
Well, it had
it was
all that
painted, it was a
crazy little
maroon.
mosaic
No, it
crap.
was, a cream.
Yeah, okay.
It was a cream on the front, it's maroon on the back. On the D Street side, it's maroon.
Yeah,
And it was,
So-
it
But
was a
wasn't it-
cream.
but on the, all the way up, it wasn't it a natural color?
No, I believe it was a painted cream color-ish.
I feel like there was brick showing at some point.
There might have been like the parapets, maybe.
On the top half, the bottom
Right.
half was always
It
painted,
was always painted.
or mosaic, the green
It's
mosaic.
the mosaic stuff. yeah.
Just one of those very tasteless things, plus he didn't follow the process.
Correct, he did not follow the process.
At least he needs a letter to remind him that he didn't follow the process.
We can do that.
I don't think it's even unfair to say that there's some objection to lack of compatibility with the neighborhood or any historic preservation whatsoever.
What's that building currently used for now?
Nothing, it's empty.
It's empty.
Maybe what?
It's empty. Been empty for,
One time.
I think it's been empty the entire time I've worked for the city, which is 8.5 years.
Yeah, and at one time it was condemned
At one
because.
time it was condemned.
Flooding, and was there a fire too?
No,
flooding.
it was
There was
mold
flooding
and water.
and-
It had,
water.
they were using a blue tarp as the roof for a while. Turns out that doesn't, work real well.
Amazing.
Don't work.
That was a couple of owners ago, and I think that got repaired.
Is he painting this to sell it?
I think
I
he-
feel like he's trying to
I gotta tell you,
get it
so
ready to
I think what was happening is the brick was just
disintegrate.
on the top part, that brick was just falling apart.
Do you
And
think
so,
paint's gonna hold it?
so no, Travis, well, it actually will adhere it and hold it together for a while.
Yeah, talk to the library people about how well that works.
Yeah, exactly, not for a long time, because, it's latex, and especially in our weather.
And they were all
Yeah.
made with soft brick.
Yep. So that's not going to,
Yeah,
and it works, but I think that was.
I guess that one just bothers me. And I don't know if it's the fact that he didn't go through the process knowing he was in a historic district, or it's just, it doesn't appear to have a purpose, it doesn't appear to be doing anything for his business, it's just,
Yeah, I don't think he ever did anything out of malice, because I know Travis pretty well, it was just not thought out.
Travis soup.
Andrews. I just think
That's
it
not
was,
the only,
yeah,
only
it just,
town
he
that
just,
he's had some issues with.
yeah, I just don't think he's,
he's not.
yeah, he wasn't familiar and didn't.
I didn't see anything about paint, did you?
No, I'm not seeing. And I remember when we reviewed the one for Tekla Druffel's law office and she was changing her paint color. I remember us really struggling to figure out what area we put that in.
The only thing that I read, and I read it because of, I'm restoring my house and doing all that kind of stuff at my house, and we have a brick fireplace. And I read in one of the, wherever it was, it said that if it is a natural colored brick, if it, can't paint it. But there's nothing about paint color on anything that's already painted.
I thought paint color too was only on the normal mill overlay, right? There was some
It's not
on the
called
list.
out there either.
It's
not, that's what
No,
I
because
meant.
SHPO does not, so I think that there was a thought, a rumor, we're gonna go with a rumor within the commission that at some point a paint palette had been like chosen or decided on. I have never been able to find anything that says that. I reached out to SHPO when I was trying to research that, and so that was maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. And
The
SHPO's like,
suggestion
don't
was-
touch color, don't do it, don't touch, don't, no.
I think when I was at the museum, I don't know if it's still on there, but BDL had something online.
BDO
and it
has
had
like,
suggestions.
yes, they have suggested,
It's easy
and I
to
don't-
take that as the rule, but
yes,
it's not.
it's not.
But
And I don't even know that
We found
they,
that out when
have that
we
in.
were building over here with the big gray building over here by the bars and all of that.
oh yeah, Zone 208.
You remember when they came to us and we had discussion about whether it was gray or whether it was gonna be green or whatever, and we determined at that time there wasn't any.
That might have been before my time
It may have been.
as the commission staff.
You know which one I'm talking about.
I know which
It was
one
the
you're talking
about.
advertising agency and
Yes.
some of those things.
Yeah, so we don't have anything that dictates color. When I search through the National Register, like, there is not a historic color palette,
Okay.
with the exception of Florida, who has determined that, like, the Miami-Dade area and Palm Beach with the whole neons and the pastels, like, down there, that is designated as a historic color palette. Nowhere else, nowhere else, and it says it's too broad of a subject, you know, and if you, yep, way too subjective. If you Google that, like, just paint companies come up with what they have determined to be historic, which is
Well-
not necessarily true, so.
And some of the paint colors can't be reproduced anymore because of how they made them
Yeah,
back
with
in
how they
that
made 'em,
time,
yep.
so.
And there's
Exactly.
not a permitting issue as far as, do you have to get a permit?
You don't
to
have to
paint?
get a paint,
No.
So
no,
really, we have nothing to say or do.
correct.
With the paint color, so I'm looking at the header, the first header that we read today,
The brick.
and it says compatible use for property through repair, so and it
That's
says,
the use though.
yeah, and it says, for the use of the property.
Yeah, for making possible compatible use for the
Uh,
property.
Addition while preserving those portions and features, so it's actually the building part of it.
It's just kind of one of those tasteless moves, that the kind of thing that we had
Yeah.
with Tomlinson or
Gets
Caldwell
in
or
your
whatever, you
crawl.
know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those that just went too far and didn't, you know, in the case of the signs on the realty building, they knew better.
Yeah, and they didn't
they-
follow. There was code preventing them from doing what they did.
Mhm.
So if the commission wants to write a letter, we can do that. That's totally doable. And you can just,
Just bothers me that we.
Say that, you know, we
expect-
wish you had
expect people
followed.
to come in and they're doing pages and pages and pages of work to get a sign put up, and then you do a major something like that, where it just slides through.
I think it's probably just because he didn't follow the procedure and, I mean,
Well, but
you
he's
know,
been
as-
here.
Well, and there could
he's
be-
been here
That's what
before.
I'm
Number
saying,
three.
I think that's the issue, is he knew that there is a
Number 3
process
on
to
the first
follow.
one.
But it doesn't sound like they're actually, like, if he doesn't need a permit and we can't regulate color,
Yeah,
he really didn't.
Well,
I mean, like, I guess the commission could have made suggestions.
Oh,
And been
yeah.
like,
well, and I think
could
that's,
you paint it a lighter color
I
or?
guess, I wish there were some way to suggest that as he moves forward, nice for him to consider.
well, why can't we just send out a very, not even a letter saying, hey, shame on you.
yeah, it doesn't have
But
to
a
be
letter
shame.
that says, hey, we notice that you are doing some upgrading to your building and we really appreciate that. we would like to send you some guidelines that we go by as a commission to help in your decisions of what you need to do with the building. I mean,
doable.
that way
And I
we're
think
not,
with that word compatibility with the neighbors.
Yeah, I think saying
really-
something along the lines
That's
of
really
trying to
the
make it all
phrase that-
flow together.
Yeah, so
'Cause
maybe,
we don't
so,
really have any guidelines to give them,
Well, we're
And number
paying almost
three.
$30,000
I mean,
to
as
deal
far as
with
paint
the-
goes.
no, right, we're not, what
But
I'm
if we
saying
were to
is, we're
say
not
something
talking
like-
about his paint per se, is that we're just saying, we notice you are doing some upgrades.
so maybe we're not,
Here are
you're not calling out the paint specifically, the commission is just like, hey, just wanna let
Keep
you,
this in mind
remind you
as
that
you're-
there are these guidelines,
Yes.
please follow them.
But keep it friendly, cause
Without,
Wes,
without
ask
calling him
questions.
out and saying, hey, naughty boy.
See,
Yeah.
Idaho Heritage
shouldn't
Trust
say
is
it.
making us pay almost $30,000 to work on the paint compatibility with the historic preservation of the Liberty and the signs over time and what they were and how they fit in.
And that's
the
because you're
neighborhood.
using grant money.
That's because we're using grant money, but it feels a little bit weird to me that we're going out and having to raise the $30,000 to discuss the color. And the guy down the street can slap black on. And that
Well-
bothers me a little bit,
And I guess if we run across this
as
again,
building owners, right?
number 3 actually says leaving brick, stone, or concrete walls unpainted that were not painted historically.
So we need to make sure that that's the case.
So,
We could highlight that for him.
Mhm.
yeah, and just, again, I know Travis, he wasn't doing, I think he was just trying to do something to improve the look of the building because he wants to sell it. You know, but I know, right?
Who wants to
But,
volunteer to
But
write
he's-
the letter?
He's been here with us, he's talked about his buckets, I mean, I'm sorry,
yeah, okay,
I'm not giving him much slack on
all
that.
right.
Who wants to volunteer to write the letter? Somebody?
You already said half of it, I think you should do it.
I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cause I
Mine
like
might
your
get
idea
angry
of the
halfway
kindness
through it,
and
so.
trying to go at it like.
Okay, so tomorrow you will
Yeah.
draft something, we can review it
It
and
can
sign
be
it at the
real
next
short
meeting.
and sweet.
Super. Let's do
I
that.
think it could be real short and sweet
Yeah.
as far as that.
I think we just wanna keep it friendly, cause we
Yeah,
don't have
oh,
a code or a
definitely.
legal
Yeah, we don't
Right.
have
to
a,
stand on.
we don't have anything except.
And we wanna keep good
Annoyance.
relations with everybody downtown.
We should tuck in a discount paint
I'm not
coupon.
pissed about it.
It's not good to write a letter and say we're annoyed with you.
That's why you're not writing it.
That's why we didn't nominate you.
You know my pen, right?
I had you as a teacher, I remember.
Okay, do we have any other commissioner comments?
What was your maiden name?
Gordon. Your wife was my very favorite teacher.
Any other
Sorry.
commissioner comments? None?
Mm.
Okay, how about staff comments?
So regular meeting of February will be on February 1st. Anybody unable to attend?
I'll be there.
Everybody thinks they're good?
Yep.
Okay. And then B, I had sent this out a month, maybe 2 months ago.
About the-
Via email. The city has decided to honor all of our wonderful volunteers with a reception. So all boards and commissions are being invited to this. So this is your save the date. It is on Friday, February 2nd. It is an evening thing. I believe it's gonna last about 2 hours. I don't have any more details at this time. I will probably in the next 2 weeks be emailing again and asking for a head count so that I can provide that to our legal department who's organizing it, so.
You can have that, I'm actually busy that.
Okay, no Greg then.
No, Greg.
So just a reminder that this is coming up, you are all invited to attend, and once I get more information, I'll send out more information.
On the February 1st meeting, I will need a Zoom link. That is my terrible day at work.
I will make myself a note and make sure I get that from my team.
First of the month, yes.
Yeah, well, our locks, yeah.
Okay, is there anything else, Katie?
I don't have anything else.
The
Those are my two
end and
things.
beginning of months are not good.
Well, do we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Or, yeah.